Nick Duff on the Wolves Only podcast. This is your first time on here.
First day.
This is awesome. This is really cool. So, man, you came alive in the last month.
Things have been moving, especially the last couple weeks, like really quickly.
Kind of figured as much with you, you know, that you're a hard worker, you know, your content is fantastic, you know, you're doing everything right. So it obviously will work out for you if you follow the process, exactly what we teach.
It's been pretty wild. Like the first 2 weeks came in and it was just so hot, so much information. And I did my best to just grab everything I could and start running with it. And even in like within 2 weeks, just my skills, like even in my content has gotten way better. My delivery has gotten way fucking better. You know, my sales I actually have a sales strategy now, which I didn't have before. So,
Yep.
I mean, that's helping.
Yeah. You guys like you and like Dan Herring have been like on our radar. Like we're just like watching this like explode for you guys. And, you know, again, it's just talk about taking direction. And that's really what this is about. It's like, what's the fucking point of paying for programming, paying for mentorship if you're not just going to do what they tell you to do? Right. I think so many people, you know, and it's like sometimes like it's not even a matter of good or bad direction. I believe that we give good direction, but like it's just learning to take direction in general. The other big thing is, do you realize that when you invest in yourself that you end up pushing yourself harder?
Big time. Almost like that was almost the big thing for me here. It's like it's never really, you know, I like pushed myself to this point and I kind of knew getting on with somebody that knew what to do and could just tell me what to do and also is there, just kind of like over there. I'm just like running as fast as I can right now, as fast as I can, trying to get as much, because like the information gap, and this is so relative, like it's an application issue. The information's available to everybody. So like just that accountability piece.
Yep.
You know?
That's the best thing you could have said. It's always an application issue. I put out a new ad that's like, you know, here's what you're going to need. You know, you're going to need an appealing, authoritative Instagram page. You're going to need to advertise. You're going to need all this stuff. And I'm like, and we know that you can find it all on YouTube. And I say, but the verdict's in, you won't do it. And we know you won't do it. The other day I was, on my Facebook, this was probably a couple months ago, actually. I put how to create a free Shopify Printful account and how to actually advertise it and how to literally, like, I was just kind of making fun of people that are like all political and stuff. But I like, while making fun of them and talking shit, I laid out a whole blueprint for how they can use their stupid ideas and make money off of them. I was like, here it is. Here it is right here. This is proven. This is how people do this. This is exactly step by step. I put it in my Facebook as a post. Step 1, open up a Shopify account. Step 2, open up a Printful account. Step 3, call up a guy on Fiverr and have them make your design saying your Trump shit or your Biden shit or whatever, you know. And I'm like, step 4, take pictures in the shirts or hire a model or pay, you know, or just give somebody like whatever, get content with that stuff. Step 5, invest like fucking $150 in ads, sending people directly to your Shopify store, and Printful will print them on demand. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, literally, this is the entire layout. And everyone like sent crying, laughing emojis. And I'm like, if I circled back to all the people that read this, did any of them even try it?
Yeah, 100%. That's one of the things I got when I first got here. I can't remember if it was you or JT, but someone was like, don't even worry about like with this withholding information. Just like give it out. Give it out. 90% of people don't do anything with it anyways.
Nope, they won't. When you're not invested, you don't do it. And here's the other thing too. And I was talking to Pedro about this actually a minute ago, and we were talking about the difference, like the massive difference between needs and wants, or wants and needs, right? And it's like everybody wants to be successful, but they don't need to be successful. The reason they don't need to be successful is because they need to be comfortable. So you understand where I'm going with this, okay? If you need to be comfortable, right, then you're never going to back yourself into a corner. You're never going to burn the boats. You're never going to spend the money. You're never going to do those things. So you want to be successful, but the people who are successful need to be successful because they fucking shelled out the money. They put themselves in a spot where it's like failure is not an option. We need to be successful. And if you're somebody who wants to be successful but needs to be comfortable, it's very unlikely that you will ever see success because your priorities are fucked.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I tried to like shift my mindset into thinking I need to be uncomfortable. Whatever it is that I'm avoiding, if it's speaking on camera on social media, if that's the toughest thing for me, I need to be doing that every single day.
Yeah. But it's funny because like as you do it, the more you do it, the better you're getting. I watch everything pretty much that you put out, and it's like I'm watching you grow constantly. And it's like it doesn't stop there though. It's so funny because the other day I was like stagnant in not my like earning potential, not in my business, not in my work ethic, but I was like, I'm not being mentored right now. Like I have a coach, like I paid Brandon, you know what I mean? And I have mentors and stuff like that. But I was like, I'm not paying a mentor that's doing something bigger than me right now. And I was like, how can this be? And it left like this like open void in myself. It was like what am I doing? How am I preaching mentorship if I'm not doing it? So I hired a mentor. I paid him 75 grand. I don't even know that I need what he has. But I knew that when it was like, it's relative, right? Like that's a lot of money to me to just shell out to somebody for a year mentorship. But I don't, and I haven't even talked to the guy yet. And I don't even know, like, I mean, I'm going to, and he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's, it's something that he does something that I would like to eventually be able to do. And I'm like, what am I doing with this? Like, but I need to do it. I just need to do it. I need to be in the same rooms. It's the same thing where it's like, and I want everybody to be able to experience this. And it's why I tell people, like why I tell Scotty, I bought Scotty his first Breitling, and then I bought him his first Rolex. But then it was like, okay, now it's your turn. So he went and bought a Rolex the other day. He bought actually one of the Rolexes that I wanted. And I was like, you son of a bitch. And he was like, and he'd never done that before in his life, and he was like, thank you. He's like, and I'm like, well, I didn't buy that one for you. And he's like, no, because, now I'm like, I know what it feels like to have this. And it's like, okay, there's two things to when you spend a lot of money on yourself. One, you back yourself back into a corner again. So then it's like, you need to out earn what you just spent. Right. So that's fantastic. That's a great way to be. But the other thing too, is when you have when you invest in yourself, you're bringing yourself to a level where you're in the same rooms and in the same conversation as the people who have done the same thing. Right. When I bought a $200,000 car, I'm in the same discussion and the same conversation as other guys that have $200,000 cars. Right. When I'm on the golf course, I'm on a Tuesday morning, I'm around guys who can be on the golf course on a Tuesday while everybody's out back at work.
Yeah, no doubt. When I'm on a call with JWX and 40 other coaches and Justin Wenzel and Justin Thomas and Karate Scotty, all of a sudden I'm in the fucking room.
Yep.
Getting in the room, this is my first time like being in a room like this. It's been just insane help, man. Like the amount of value that comes through, and not even obviously there's a huge amount of value that's come to me directly for helping grow my coaching business, and extremely quickly at that. But my personal development value, like
Yeah.
someone dropped the other day, like, how are you going out in public? Like go out in public every day like you're ready for business. Are you somebody, if someone had $1 million opportunity and they crossed your path, do you look like someone that someone would give $1 million opportunity to?
Yeah, no, and that's such truth. It is. It's like you need to like position yourself for that opportunity, and you need to be like ready to go. Here's something though, and I'm curious on your thoughts on this. Have you noticed that we've been kind of like pushing people in your direction?
A little bit. Yeah, I have noticed that. I didn't know
Okay.
if that was just happening or if it was being pushed. I kind of just,
There's a
yeah.
reason for that. So you'll notice like when I start to see like a coach having a lot of success, I'll start to push people in their direction to give you sort of a leadership like spot in that situation. And that's what I did to Randy. That's what I did to Casey. And that's what I did to a lot of people, right? Because I want you to have, because here's the deal. You need to realize this, that for me, like my job is to grow future leaders. Okay. I want to be able to show you how to become a great businessman and be a great entrepreneur and run a successful business. But I believe that when one person teaches, and this is a fact, two people learn. Okay. So when I see somebody having a good amount of success and doing everything right and doing, following a process and having results come from it, then I want to put them in a quick position where they have to do some teaching, because all of a sudden now you're sitting with Mike Cohen, right? And I guarantee you when his eyes light up and you're showing him, a couple of things, or you're having a conversation where like he is literally leeching off of your success. Now all of a sudden you're fresh. You have more momentum. You want to push even harder because you were just in a spot where you were teaching somebody.
That is actually crazy and not something I would have even thought about, even in like how would one develop a leader?
By literally backing them into a corner, making them be in a situation where they have to show some leadership skill.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't realize. I mean, yeah, appreciate
We
that.
do it a lot. We did it a lot. Like that was kind of our style of prepping up managers in the industry that I used to be in. And it was like, grab a salesman that's crushing it and like pass them to a green pea, and then all of a sudden, like you watch that salesman become more meticulous with his process because he's teaching somebody else. So he's reminded of like the things that he may have started to take shortcuts on, the things that he may, what I mean, that he took for granted as he started to get more of a swing and develop things. And then all of a sudden he becomes more meticulous. And now he's got a little bit of a leadership position. So it's all of a sudden, boom, now that guy takes off and, and he feels a sense of reward for it. And that's the thing too, though. You also have to have the discernment of who is capable of being that. Now, we may have a coach that has tremendous success, but he has tremendous success in his own business, in his own world, in his own community, and he may not be the guy that can do what I do someday. He may be tapped out in his own spot.
Yeah, it was cutting out a bit there.
Oh, I just said that you have to have the discernment of who can actually handle that, because there's some people that are just successful in their own bubble and that's where they need to stay.
Right. Yeah. Noticing talents.
It's servitude. There's a little bit of servitude involved when you know, like, it's funny because like, same with Dan Herring. It's like, I know that cat has a heart of servitude, right? Like he wants to be able to show other people like and share his experience with people, right?
Yeah.
Because the last thing a leader is selfish.
Definitely. I mean, man, my own journey in and around leadership over the last couple of years, especially after like going completely sober, and then, you know, like that transition from that point, it's not just like you put down the bottle and then everything's all good now. There's this like reforming of identity. There's like your own shadow is looking at you, and you're really self-aware of that and trying to figure out like, whoa, what's happening here? And then, you know, you're in a position where you want to lead, but the shadow's coming through and you're getting things like resentment at other people who are doing less than you. And you're like, whoa, well, that's not exactly, you know, you have an opportunity to be a great leader here, but when that shines through, you lose it.
There is, so you'll get over this. I know kind of where you're at with that. And you have like this kind of like self-righteous feeling to where like you want everybody to find what you found, right? And you've set boundaries around yourself so tight that there will come a day where like you really realize that closed mouths aren't going to get fed, that not everybody is going to have their hand open for advice for things like that. Some people are just lost causes, right? They're so mentally sick in our heads that it's like there's no way. Now we take a self-righteous approach because we want to be Captain Save-A-Ho. We want to be able to spread the gospel of what the fuck we've learned in our lives and overcame. But it's until somebody is at the end of their rope or desperate, whatever it is, to where they're willing to take this, or they want it bad enough, right? And most of the time people think they want it bad enough, but they don't. I don't even really want to waste my time with somebody unless they need it bad enough.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, like the catalyst to change. What exactly is that, right? For a lot of us, it ends up being pain. Like when you get to the very bottom and it hurts so bad, then you will change. And typically at that point is when the purpose comes through and you find a reason. You found a reason. How is it possible to help people find a reason before they get to that point?
I don't think so. Honestly, I think that you're better off bottom feeding. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because
we're jigging. Yeah.
Well, yeah, yes. I don't really know what that means, but that, yes, I understand it's a fishing term. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's like, you're better off, picking up girls at a sex anonymous club. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it sounds terrible, but it's true. It's like, you know, until somebody has what in AA we call the gift of desperation, right? There's nothing you can do to force somebody to change, right? You know, parents, and especially, are you still here? Can you hear me?
I'm back. Yeah.
Okay. If it sometimes it'll clip in and out, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We can edit it out and post. But parents will come to me like, or people want that have kids or significant others or wives, husbands that will like say to me like, you know, what can you tell them? What can you do to get them to, you know, go to rehab and stuff like that? And it's like, nothing. There's nothing I can, because until they're so fed up with their own shit, they'll never want to change, right? And it's the same thing with like people who need to lose weight. People, you know what I mean? It's like the level of pain that they need to experience, the level of like just being so sick of being broke, sick of being paycheck to paycheck, sick of being fat, sick of being tired, sick of being looked over by their wife or husband, that they'll actually go to make that change. So you're better off in search of the people who are already at that low than trying to convince somebody that they are.
Yeah, I think about my own journey in that sense. Like, what would have got me to change at 16, 20? I don't know, like maybe nothing, you know? I think if anything, maybe if I had some stronger male role models that were actually winning instead of looking to, you know, the drug dealers cruising in the Benz and being like, that's what I want. This looks like the way to get it.
Right.
You know, where was the others that were winning? Like, for some reason, I wasn't seeing another path.
Well, yeah, I think it is. It's like but again, that's just your surroundings. That's just like where you choose to place yourself, right? And I think a lot of times it's like it's so evident that, like, you know, you're a product of your environment, right? Like you're spending enough time in a barber shop that you're getting your hair cut, but you're getting a fucked up do. You know what I mean? You gotta switch barbershops. But the problem is people think it's so out of reach. And the other problem is that it does cost money.
Yeah.
You know, it does cost money. You know, I know a lot of guys that are in the same world as me that, like, they pay each other and they're friends, but they pay each other to just be clients of one another.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, I've had multiple coaches for athletics, like for long distance running. This is my first time investing in myself, especially to this degree, in a business manner. And I'm like feeling what you were saying earlier. Like, I can tell how good this works and how insanely important it is. So, like, going forward, you know.
Yep. It's funny. You will find yourself like hitting a plateau the minute you like stop doing what you know works. It's insane to think, like, the fucking, like, and it happened to me, and it happens to me in other parts of my life, to where it's like, hold on a second, I'm not uncomfortable right now. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, if I just put myself back in like that state of urgency, um, you know, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I just progressed again. I just did more. I just, you know, and it's easy. It's easy to make every excuse for yourself to lay off the throttle. But when you stop growing, you die. And it's a bad spot to be in.
Yeah. You're not progressing, you're regressing.
It's exactly right. I was just thinking about this today too. It's like, you know, it's a gorgeous day out, you know, and I've been in my office literally all day working, and I have a hard time with the folks that like cry broke, whatever, and they're, woo, fucking summer's here, it's sunny, I'm going to the beach and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't need to be here. I'm the one that should be out there. They're the ones that should be in here.
Who should be celebrating?
Right. But it's always a glaring reminder of why we are seeing success and why they are not.
I mean, even over the last year, you know, like for me, physically, that's always been an area that I go to. Like, I excel in that department. It comes to me. I'm comfortable being in that extremely difficult place, and I thrive there, right? So other things like business, little tougher for me. Haven't always excelled in that department. So, you know, I'll go to the fitness area first and leave this. And like, it was almost around December this year where I really took a look at that, and I was like, yo, dude, like, this department is so high. Like, I don't have the time to gain. I'm putting a ton over there. Like, some of this energy, if I want this department to get up there, I need to take some of that energy and focus it over here. Like, you know, I should be getting up at 3:30 in the morning, going into my office instead of heading right to the gym. And that's what I've been doing for the last few months.
And yeah, that's like my process is like, I get up, I go to my office, I do like my non-negotiables, I get them out of the way. And then my second non-negotiable after that is to train. So that's why I'm in the gym. But I always even get to the gym about a half hour before it opens, so I can sit in my car and like kind of meditate for a second, maybe do a little bit of work and stuff like that. And then I go in the gym. Right. And then it's like that little time between the gym and when I'm back in my office is like my time to like think for myself. And then it's like, boom, right back to work.
Yeah. I know you're grinding like full time. What I was wondering is like, how do you pull away, or do you pull away from the phone at all and then presence with the family? Because that's something I've noticed that is increasing as there's way more inbound growth happening on my social medias, that it's like, whoa, I could literally spend every minute of every day on this thing.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever answer I give you is going to be a bad answer to most people. To me, I would tell you to suck it up. If you want the success, it's what it's going to take.
Run it.
And your family needs to understand. But everybody is going to say that guy's a fucking lunatic.
Run it.
So I honestly, like, my advice is probably bad advice.
And maybe for most people, but I mean, balance never worked well for me. I never got much out of balance.
It's really unobtainable if you think about it. It's only obtainable if you want to be mediocre. I've said it before. It's like the word balance is, directly related to, distribution of something. But so is average.
Yeah, it's not excess. It's not greatness.
It isn't.
You don't get a great result with a balanced effort.
It's very hard to you can't use balance and abundance as an oxymoron. So I don't like I said, I don't have, like, if I told everybody to do it my way, like, I would get a lot of resentment. I'd have a lot of pissed off wives.
I think for the few that want it like that, though, it's beneficial.
Yeah. I mean, my wife understands, I set really good boundaries around it, and she understands. But I was talking actually to Pedro about this too. I had a dad who was an absent father. Like, my dad, he worked. That's what he did. He was home for a little bit, but he'd go to bed and then go right back to work. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, you didn't have a relationship with your dad." And it's like, bullshit. I had the best relationship with my dad, and I learned the best lessons from my dad. And the little bit of time that I got with him was very quality time, but it was about learning. It was about developing. It was about growing. And that's how I believe it should be in my world. Now, that's not for everybody, but the difference is my dad gave, like, in a lot of ways he did, in a lot of ways he didn't, but in the ways that really counted for long-term work ethic and understanding, like, the attention I got from him was the attention that I needed. And I think a lot of times, parents, spouses, like, they think that they're giving them the love and attention that they need, but it's not. It's what they think they need. It's not what they actually need. So I think the best way to really be able to set your boundaries right, work the hours that you need to work to become successful and have what you want to have, is to first have a good understanding of how to provide exactly what your partner and family needs. Because if you're giving them all a bunch of extra shit and tiring yourself out, and it's not what they really need, then what really are you accomplishing?
Right. When you talk about your dad like that, did you always feel that way about that relationship, or did that come as you got older?
So I had an interesting childhood to where, like, we went from having nothing to having a ton, like a lot in my life. Like, throughout my childhood, we went from being like lower middle class to extremely, extremely wealthy. So I watched how that developed. You know what I mean? And I saw what it took for that to develop. So I gained a really good appreciation of what life can be, when you stay focused and you have your eye on that prize. So it's hard for me to relate to people on this, because not many people have lived the life that I have, where it went from nothing to insane abundance, right?
Yeah, and being able to correlate the effort that was needed to
Right.
produce the outcome.
Right. You know, I went from my dad not being able to afford like getting me a nice bike to having yachts and private jets.
Yeah,
That's hard to relate to.
definitely.
So it's fucked up, but I just can only see, like, if you really do like focus in and grind. And now later on in life, I have the best relationship that I've ever had with my dad.
Do you think that, I mean, my relationship with my old man's not great. So I just think about some of these things and I'm like, you know, that's also something I'm kind of working on, but it's just not good. And like, I'm kind of trying to take it on me. Like, as the youth, it's like the ceiling of the last generation should be the floor of the next. So maybe his capacity has allowed him to give in a way that was kind of maxed out. You know, he's done the best he can with what he has. So I should be able to let go of the resentment, come forward and help fix the relationship in the productive way, right?
Yeah. Well, so Elliot had a good way of putting this. And this is very common with father-son relationships, where you have like the offender and the victim, and that role changes, like it flips all the time between father and son, right? Where at one point you're the victim, but then the next point you're the offender and he's the victim, and it goes back and forth and it's cyclical. Can you kind of relate to that?
That hits me kind of because it's so accurate even now. And it's like everybody's hurt here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening. Both sides are hurt.
Yeah, it's funny because that's more common than not in a especially in a father-son relationship. And the only reason that I'm not talking about father-daughter and mother-daughter is because I can't relate to it. I don't I don't know. My relationship with my mom is really non-existent, and it's not for any other reason than just we really don't have any, like, there's zero communication there. We have completely separate interests. And I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, we haven't really invested a lot of time into our relationship in my adult life. So it's just non-existent. It's not something that I'm really trying to pursue. And that's on me and that's on her. Right. So we're not in that tie of victim victor or victim offender. At this point with my dad, I think that we had the same thing where it was like, I didn't think that I was heard or recognized for certain things. He would feel like I took advantage of him. And it was like back and forth to the point where we both became like I became very self-sufficient. Right. So then that eliminated that feeling of him being taken advantage of. And then he became proud of me, which is all I ever looked for.
Yeah. I mean, I'm aware
Right.
of that within myself, is that's all I ever really wanted.
Isn't
Was
that
that.
fucked up?
It is. Yeah. It is fucked up. Yeah. And somehow, because I know his intention is pure, but somehow in the communication, that was mistranslated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that as myself now being a father. How do I ensure that I don't make those same communication breakdowns and the message gets across in the way that I want it to be delivered?
So that comes in discovery of what your child, as they grow up, what they actually need, the level of love that they actually need, or what, in terms of what they, what type of recognition, what type of celebration, are you having your child play soccer because you love to play soccer, or they do? Right. And I just use soccer as an example, but like, it's like anything, um, I think that we try to impose what we think that love is, and we try to impose what we think support is, but it's not what they actually need.
Yeah. I
So
had it with my own daughter the other day.
Oh, really?
It's like they just have this incredible gift. Like my daughter's only 2, so it's new for me, but they have this incredible gift of showing us our gaps really in your face if you're willing to look at it. And that was it. We were out on the trail and she was upset. She didn't really want to be there. I had wanted this to do this. And it became very apparent very quickly. I was like, oh, dude, you just made this a you thing. This was supposed to be about taking her to have fun. She's not having fun. Now I'm hurt. I'm upset. And just like being very aware, pull back. This isn't what it's about. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff, man. I'm loving it.
I think if you can become aware of that, you know, then it's a matter of now you can put your energy into like the things that really, really count, right? Instead of wasting your time trying to fill gaps that don't even exist.
Yeah.
Which will allow you to allocate more time into providing and doing the things that you need to like achieve your own personal goals and make yourself feel fulfilled. Because also it's really hard for you to be a great leader and a great father and a great husband if you're not fulfilled in your own, you know, destiny, dreams, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. My cup can't pour over unless it's full.
Exactly. I love that.
Man, I want to say, like, you know, I was coaching by myself for the last 2 years, right? It's been a wild fucking ride. A wild ride. There was times where I almost like quit, you know? And so much of it was being able to get out of my own way. So many people are like, "Oh, I don't care what other people think." But how many people are actually have that internally, that internal self-worth, self-validation? Because give someone a fucking camera, tell them to talk on social media, and then tell me you don't give a fuck what people think.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, it is. Allodoxophobia is that's what most people have. I mean, that's the biggest fear is, you know, the opinion of others.
Yeah. But it's been awesome, like in the first month being here, how quickly that leap was made. You know, it's kind of like the switch was flipped for me. And then to see like things just start rolling. And then in the last 2-3 weeks, it's just like rolling day by day. Like shit comes in. I'm like, whoa, that just is unexpected. So fast. Yep. Even this morning, I turned a $250 meal plan into a 1-year sale. And I did not see that coming. I just rolled in with the processes and with no attachment to outcome. And it works.
Insane how it works. I love it.
Insane.
I love seeing you win, man. I really do. And it's cool. And I like seeing you lead. And I do believe that the more you lead, that's like with Channy. Like this is a great example was like when I put Channy into leadership and gave her own call to lead the women, all of a sudden, like now she's teaching stuff and all of a sudden her own business starts to blow up, you know? And that's how it works. That's exactly how it works, right? We grow when one person teaches, 2 people learn. We grow when we are revisiting the things that we had to experience and had to do ourselves to get to a certain level of success. But that's why I always tell people that are like, you know, successful realtors or successful business people, it's like, well, why don't you have a platform for yourself where you are, you know, mentoring people on what you've accomplished so much in? Because what always happens is their own businesses do better, right? Because the eye is on them. They are now the expert. People are looking to them for that, right? So their own business explodes from that. But then they get better and better and better at what they do, right? And now they have multiple sources of income and they have something that they can be proud of, something new and fresh. And it's funny how that pours over into all of the other assets and professions that you have. So I push people to always want more from just like outside of their own business and their concern. It's not about diversification. It's about becoming the best at one thing. It's pretty cool.
That's very cool. I can feel that. That's one of the things I like about this space in and of itself, not only like growing an organic platform, but it's very open with what you can do here.
It is. It is. You can go in a lot of directions. That's a beautiful thing too about having a personal brand. You know, you can take your personal brand in any direction you'd like. Once you have credibility, an audience, you know, results, all of it, you're able to do a lot more.
Yeah.
The opportunity opens up.
Where were you, like, how was your process to getting into where you are now? Like coaching leaders and coaches from JWX Fit, and what did that look like?
Well, really it really just started with Scotty. We've talked about it a number of times, but I didn't really have the intention. So I hired a mentor to teach me how to run ads, and I was already doing 6-figure months with my online coaching business, my fitness coaching business. So and he sent me a voice note one day, and he's like, "Hey, I'm just looking at your stuff." He's like, you're killing it with this. He's like, "But honestly, like, you should be showing people how to do what you're doing, because you're doing it really well. You're doing it better than anyone I've ever talked to before." And he's dealt with everybody in this scene. And I had a really good process and a really good way of like sharing audience and referral systems and stuff like that, to where it was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I was discouraged because I had a mentor that was telling me that I wasn't in a position to do that, based on the fact that I'd never made $1 million in a month. Well, I was making $250,000 in a month. So I felt like that was enough to be able to say, like, I mean, but I just kind of had an imposter syndrome about it. So I tried it out with Scotty. And when I had a ton of success with Scotty, then it was like, okay, we can start doing this.
Damn.
Hang on, I got to pee real quick. I'll be right back.
Wanted to send you a message and some gratefulness and love you. I thought you might recognize this place. Decided to take a impromptu trip up to Boyne Mountain. Got the kids and the fam, the suite, and we're just gonna have fun. Do the Sky Bridge and do some hanging out. And so have a good ass Saturday. Just thinking about you, brother. Love you, man.
Homie's got a very recognizable voice.
Scotty?
That was John?
That was Scotty.
Oh, it was Scotty. I thought it was John.
Sockdale?
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I've known John since he was a little kid.
Wild. You guys are playing punk metal together.
Yep. Yeah, he moved into Grand Rapids from Detroit when he was like 11 or 12. I was like 15. And he came to my church and he was like, yeah, I play guitar. I like punk rock. I'm like, you ever heard of hardcore? He's like, not really. I'm like, let me show you some good stuff. And next thing you know, he starts playing guitar in my at that time, my newest band. I had already been in a punk rock band before that. And then we just started making music for years and years. And, played a lot of big shows and got to do a lot of really cool things really young. And he's like kind of a prodigy at a very young age. He's one of the best songwriters that I know, as a guitarist. And he's a great drummer too. But his dad, a lot of people don't know this. I don't know why you would, but his dad, Michael, is the number one classic and flamenco guitarist in the world.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
He's hitting that classical gas.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like a classical and flamenco instructor or professor at a big college in Michigan. And yeah, he's the guy's a fucking rock star. And we always like somehow like, as we got older, we went our separate ways and stuff, but we always ended up reconnecting. And then he came to me and he was like, I want to start coaching. And I was like, let's go. I'd love to do this with you. So, signed up with me. He always trusted me, and I think it's funny because like, John, so there's a number of them. So like John, Christina and Liz Salvaggio, obviously Scotty, Eric Hammer, Matt Baugh, obviously. There's quite a few people that have known me, for a long time that are part of JWX that just have always trusted me, whether it was business or whatever related, Christina Salvaggio and I went to college together.
She's killing it too.
Yep. Well, Liz, yeah, her sister's really killing it, but she does too. But Christina and I were like really, really close friends. We were best of friends in college, and then kind of she got married, had kids and stuff like that. We all went our separate ways. And then she, after she had her last child, she wanted to get her body back and hired me to be her coach. Same with Liz. So her sister Liz wanted to get in the best shape of her life for her wedding. So she hired me, fell in love with the process, worked my program. They brought me so many clients. It was absolutely stupid.
Damn.
And then the next thing you know, they're like, we want to be coaches, and invested and came on to JWX, and they're crushing it. So it's cool.
In your time, like running Justin Wenzel Fit, how long did it take you to go from 5K a month to 100?
So no, my first month I did 18,000. First month ever. Second month I doubled it. And then third month I hit 100K. But listen, I tell my story, but I think it should be understandable that I had a massive network, and everybody knew me from my transformation and how I was able to do it. So I had a huge network of a lot of people with a lot of money, and also before I went through my divorce and when I went through my transformation years and years ago, I actually was like doing all this stuff that online coaches did. I didn't even know online coaching was a thing. So I was like sharing like Instagram. I was like posting my meal preps. I was posting that stuff, like all the stuff, and not even knowing online coaching was a thing. So when I closed my Instagram, when I went through my divorce and then I opened up my new one, when I moved out to California, my following shot up really quick. Like I had a 5,000-6,000 person following on my old Instagram. And then it went right back to 5,000 right away.
Damn. Yeah.
So I had instant success, but I don't tell you guys like that's how to do it. It was just, that was what I had, you know what I mean? But when I did get stagnant for a couple months at like 100K, 80K to 100K. And then when I started implementing like the stuff that we teach, that's when it was like, I was able to get it up to high six figures.
Yeah, it was actually kind of mind-blowing to me at first to see like some guys that would have like a 20,000 or 30,000 person following, but not actually have, doesn't necessarily mean there's money coming in from that, you know? And like I got 2,100 people on there and we're rolling.
Right.
You know?
Well, you're starting to learn more about high ticket, which is very valuable. And then you're also building like a financial drip system. So you're always getting paid. So this financial drip system, like this pay drip that we teach, you know, it's funny because like 2 or 3 years ago, I spent the whole month in Tulum, Mexico, and I was sending Scotty like screenshots of how my drips would come in. And dude, I'd be sitting on the beach and literally my square report would be like 20 grand in a day, 25 grand in a day, just because the way the payments were all lined up, that it was like, you know, some days like my 3-month programs would all hit all on the same day because I would have sold like 5 or 6 3-month programs all on the same day. Or at the same time, some 6-month programs would come in and hit along with my month-to-month programs, you know, and it was like, that was where it really started to like level up because I took all deals. I took everything but I would just structure the pay, like my pay drip to set up. So like I would always be getting paid no matter what.
Yeah. And that's where that like accounts receivable comes in, and it's fine. Spread it throughout the month.
Yep.
Epic. Yeah. Like there's so much of this stuff that you just, I mean, it could have took me like 2 more, 3 more, 4 more years to learn this shit on my own, you know?
Well, yeah, this stuff isn't taught. Like learning how to set up the accounting of an online coaching business is not, you can't learn that online, right? Like, because no online coach does it like I do. The reason they don't know how to do it is because this isn't related to online coaching quite yet, right? What we teach is something that I've learned from selling cars. It's like knowing like, okay, what we would call it, a month is like a body of work, meaning that we take all deals, right? So like if I have a car deal that I make $200 on, and then I have another one that I make 5,000 on, one that I make 1,500 on, you know what I mean? And it's like, by the time you get your commission check, all of those numbers, big and small, all line up. Well, all we're doing is stacking it over and over and over again to where even though it's like, okay, well, I made 2,500 in revenue, but I only collected 2,500 in cash. We'll do that 10 times, do that 15 times. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this shit stacks up really, really quickly.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
But everybody wants to like, you know what I mean? Everyone's afraid to like negotiate based on, you know, cash collected versus having an accounts receivable. And they don't know how to really put that together in their heads. All they think about is they lost the sale or the person's broke. Well, that's not the case. I always say this. I would take level of interest over cash on hand all day, every day, no matter what, because I know that if I can make somebody want it bad enough, and I know that I can provide a service that and an experience that is second to none, that they will make it happen. And regardless of how I put it, if I can show 50 grand in revenue with 10 grand of cash collected, like, yeah, that doesn't pay the bills. But if I can do that over and over and over again, even if some of them default, even if some of them don't make it happen, I'm still going to have some that do. And the vast majority of them will actually pay. So if you can do 60, 70 deals, let's just say for sake of math, if you can do 100 deals, right, and 30% of them default, well, you still collected some cash from those, but you still have 70 people that are still making whole. And even if they run into a rough month, they're still giving you something.
And it's dripping.
But the sad part is too, is it's like the other thing too, is like to get that drip, you have to have a lot of conversations, and you're learning this, right?
Yeah. I'm talking all day. And I mean, one of the things that's even been a game changer for me lately is in person. Like I'm talking to everybody now, not just on the phone, every single person. My earbuds are out at the gym.
Yep.
And things are happening from that too, you know?
Yep. Everybody knows. There's an old lady, this old Asian lady that always like shows up to the gym. I hold the door for her almost every single morning. And every morning she comes to me and she's like, I just love what you posted yesterday. which you say I relate to, and I'm just an old lady. You know what I mean? And she knows what I do. And all of her friends in her circle know exactly what I do. Everybody knows what I do.
You know? There is an energy component to being, and like you're attracting it. You know, you really are attracting it.
That's a big thing. So when I used to sell cars, I would go, like, if I was like, you know, if I was at work early, there was a mall, there was like a shopping, like an actual mall, retail mall next, like just down the street from the dealership, just like a block away. And I would go into the mall, and I would like go into stores and just poke around. And I would literally wait to set myself up like this. Hey, sir, can we help you? And I go, oh no, I'm just wasting time before I have to go to work. And what are they going to say? Oh, well, what do you do? Right? Yeah. Oh, well, I sell cars. Are you in the market for a vehicle? No. Do you know anybody that is? You know, it was like always like I would like position myself to where people would ask me, what did I do? Or why was I here? Or what, you know what I mean? And that's how I still am to this day.
Just open
and
the
what's
conversation.
Funny is I don't, yeah. And what's funny is I don't ask people what they do. I don't give a fuck. Right? And I don't really care if they care what I do or not, but I'm always prospecting. And I know the best way to do that without being abrasive and too forward is to position my wording so that they're forced to ask me what I do.
Yeah. So through Instagram, you must have like a ton of sales people come telling you about this or trying to do that. I'm noticing that lately. Like my DMs are full of people like just trying to hit me up with everything.
Closers, all of it. Yeah. Yep. There's some good ones. There's some that are shit. You know what I mean? It's they're you know, they're smiling and dialing.
Yeah. We can just bypass all that, right?
For now. Eventually you're gonna want a setter in your DMs. You're gonna want a VA, you're gonna want an OBM, like that kind of stuff. But manage what you can until you're spread too thin, and then we'll, you know what I mean? I definitely wouldn't be afraid to hire someone and part with some cash. But you just want to make sure it's the right person. I think a lot of people, they want to hire someone so they can take a break. No, the answer would be you hire someone so you can work harder on more income earning activities. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the biggest thing is having the right person, because I would tell you that you should, and Jim Collins talks about it in Good to Great, and you should read Good to Great as you're starting to become a successful businessman. Good to Great really talks heavily on like making sure the right people are on the bus, the flywheel, and like even if it means you have to limp a little bit until you find that right person, don't bring the wrong person in, and definitely don't look at it as relief. I would never look at hiring somebody as relief.
Yeah, so that you can sit down. That's not really the point. No. I mean, I feel like I'm playing catch up. That's how I feel. There's a sense of urgency here.
That may be the point where you need to start to consider hiring someone, and then in which case I would hire a commission-based person so that all they get paid on is what you produce or what they produce.
Yeah. No, I'm loving it, man. I don't need a break. I need to keep going.
Hell yeah.
How many times a week are you golfing right now?
Oh, once or twice. Next weekend I get to go play Trump though in LA.
Actually?
Yeah. I'm not playing against Trump. I have no interest in that. No, I'm playing the Trump golf course.
Okay. That's in, where is that? Miami?
Los Angeles. There's one in Mar-a-Lago too, but there's a Trump course in Los Angeles. It's beautiful. But I have a buddy that I went to college with who's a member.
So you were a scratch golfer at one point, I heard that somewhere?
That's what Viet calls me. I wasn't quite, no.
Low 80s?
I was good though. Viet always like embellishes my success.
We'll take it.
To Viet, and it's so funny because Viet's a superhero to me. but I'm a superhero to be at.
Yeah.
You know, that guy is the greatest guy in the world. He is the greatest guy in the world.
How did you link with him?
Stop it. What's that?
How did you link with him?
He's here in Huntington Beach.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. He's here in Huntington
I'm looking
Beach.
forward to coming down for the event.
Oh, dude, it's going to be great.
I'm pumped.
Yeah. We host really cool events. They're a lot of fun, and obviously, I mean, you know, you're in our community, but the people of our community are all, you know, top-notch individuals.
Yeah.
So it's just like a family reunion, you know what I mean? But we're going to have a lot of fun with it. We're going to do some cool shit with it.
Yeah, really pumped to meet a bunch of those guys. I mean, it's really cool how the community kind of helps each other. It's like the main head coaches running things, and then like there's leaders all throughout.
That's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of having an ecosystem, you know what I mean? All right, guys, that wraps up an episode of the Wolves Only podcast. Listen, if you guys like what you heard, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and comment, help us get our message out there. If you want to work with our team, go ahead and click the link in the description below. Schedule a call with us. We'd love to get you on. We really appreciate you guys listening. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us on all forms of social media. Thank you so much.